Let's start with Philadelphia, because that's kind of a story that kind of, went by the wayside. And I think it is a crazy story about the suspect that now is in custody. 6 officers were shot. It was a standoff in Philadelphia. The people from Philadelphia, some of the people in Philadelphia, were at some point, mocking the police as they're in this shootout. I mean, it's crazy.
Okay, there's 4 or 5 things to the story. All right, number one, Barack Obama made a very big show out of telling the American people that most drug crimes are nonviolent. I went through the roof when he did that. The narcotics industry in America is the most violent industry we have, which is why the mafia chieftains in the 50s and 60s wouldn't even deal with it, even though they could have made gazillions of dollars. It was so nasty, they wouldn't even do it. Okay, so this guy is a drug dealer. He's got all kinds of guns in his apartment, all right? And the warrant, Philadelphia police execute a warrant. He starts shooting at them. Okay, look at his record. You know how many times he's convicted of violent felonies, including gun crimes? He's serving 2 years here, 2.5 years there. This is a dangerous man. He should have been away for 30 or 40, but no, you can't do that, because then if you put somebody in jail for that long, you're persecuting people of color.
So you're against, hang on just a second, so you're against the prison reform that the president just did?
I'm not against the prison reform if it's very specific, but I have said for years that if you commit a crime with a firearm in this country, you go to federal prison for 10 years mandatory first conviction. That solves the gun violence problem. How many decades do I have to say this? How many times do I have to say it? If you're a criminal using a gun in a crime, it becomes a federal crime, and you have a mandatory 10. That stops gun violence. I get so angry because the rest of this gun stuff is BS. It's political posturing. You want to solve it, you put the criminals with guns in prison for 10 years. That's what you do.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because if you have a firearm, you are caught with a firearm in New Jersey, and you don't have the bullets, locked in your trunk and the trigger underneath your seat in the car and locked in the glove box is a slide. I mean, they throw you in jail. I think it's in New York and New Jersey for 10 years for carrying a firearm without a concealed carry.
Well, that's the absurdity of this.
Right, I know.
Leave the law-abiding people who want to protect themselves alone, all right, and concentrate on the guy in Philadelphia who's selling heroin and carries around an AR-15 to protect his operation. Look, Beck, you know and I know we live in a corrupt world, and this is as corrupt as it gets.
Okay.
And as a result, 6 police officers got hurt.